Alright, now we do folks. Boom! Marcos only 205 numbers after the name, and that was my FIFA 18. Started the career right there. Let's get it. And yeah, it's an offside goal by Gareth Bale. I mean, honestly, it couldn't be more just, I wouldn't say realistic because he doesn't necessarily do this in real life, but just more fitting to how Gareth Bale's career has gone, especially in recent times. So I'm gonna do this little series, man. FIFA Little Fridays. I used to do it back last season, you know, with some old footage I used to have from 17 and 14 and whatnot. But this year I actually delved into FIFA 18. I purchased it, I acquired it. It's been a minute since I bought a FIFA game, yo, like a long time. And this is actually the first game. This is what they throw you into. So you notice the clock kind of going a little bit slower here. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, El Derby. And you come in there and you're supposed to, I guess, kind of hit that free kick Ronaldo, which I just completely butchered. I hit like the wrong button or whatnot. Because I flip-flop the shoot and the lob button, and I don't know if I had a flip-flop or not. I think I ended up doing the lob. Either way, I messed it up. But basically, I'm just going to kind of recap what Real Madrid's month was like, my impressions. You know, this is a very Real Madrid focus, and you know, I'll touch on other teams and other soccer teams and whatnot. But for the most part, we're going to focus in on los merengues, on the equipo blanco over there. Oof. So I think most people probably would say that Real Madrid had a very bad September and August, if you want to go that far back. Not August necessarily, because they won the Supercopa de España, Supercopa de Europa, even though the Europa was, you know, by the minimum and an offside goal. But the España one was, you know, they dominated Barcelona like left and right. That was a pretty impressive performance. But September hasn't been too nice. And I know this because I've had multiple people come up to me and say, hey, man, what's wrong with Real Madrid? What's wrong with these guys? And I'll kind of look at them and be like, nothing. We're all right. Like, what's the worry? Like, I'm not worried about it. Why? Like, they all right. Like, it's not a problem. And I think Zidane's of the same mindset. The number one issue to me that I'm most worried about September, and I'd say worried, is the injuries. Way too many injuries. And I feel like every year we're kind of in the same boat, especially at the beginning of the year, and even at some points later on in the year with the injuries. And we go top to bottom, you know. Marcelo, he's out, I believe. I believe it's a hamstring injury or quad injury or something like that, but he's going to miss a couple weeks. He'll be back. He'll be all right. You got Theo in there, who isn't really the best replacement. Brown Madrid isn't really playing any important games outside of the Tottenham game in about like a week and a half or whatnot. And I don't remember if that's at home or not. I have to check that out. If it's at home, it'd be better. If it's away, a little bit more difficult. But, you know, Real Madrid should beat a Tottenham team. But Tottenham's been playing pretty good. Gotta give him respect. So Marcelo injury, you know, that's worrisome. Sergio Ramos wasn't injured, but he missed time due to suspension. Stupid suspension at that. So that kind of cost us. You know, we didn't have that solidity in the back. Baran missed the times, hurt. You know, and Baran, we're going to fall into a couple themes here, you know, with Baran and Bale. Like, I'm going to mention these names here often because Baran always seems to be a little bit nicked up. They're very safe with the guy. He's very good. He's amazing. But sometimes he's just not available, and availability is kind of the number one factor. Talent comes after that because if you ain't on the pitch, you ain't really going to help anybody out. The Dani Carvajal situation is a little more worrisome. They're currently trying to get some more details on it and whatnot. But it seems that he has like something's up with his heart. Like he has some sort of heart condition, a condition of the heart. And it's apparently not too typically found in soccer players. So they're really going to, you know, cover all bases, make sure he's all right before he can even get out there and whatnot. So there's really no timetable for that. And whereas you could have a Theo, you could have a Nacho like this past weekend fill in for Marcelo, or they could do the same thing for Carvajal. When they're both out, kind of leaves you a little bit of a sticky situation. And last Sunday against Getafe, they put in Ashraf, who played very well. I mean, the kid was 18 in his first game. He was solid. You know, he's got speed. He's not scared to go up in front, even though he was a little bit shy at the beginning or whatnot. The team did not trust him at all. Like they just didn't even play to his side completely. And you could kind of do that. I guess they didn't play. Pardon me. They played Espanyol. Pardon me. They played Espanyol. You could do that against an Espanyol and all that, but I wouldn't really suggest that necessarily. So that's kind of how the defense has been stacking up. Gaylor's been okay. Not great, but okay. You know, I don't know. Gaylor's always going to be difficult for me because I like the guy a lot. I don't necessarily think he's the best goalie in the world. Like, he's nominated, I think, for that when they had those awards, the best. He's nominated like a top 3 goalkeeper in the world. That's just a joke, man. That's honestly, I saw that. I was like, that's disrespectful, man. Like, that's just not accurate, man. And I don't even know who would even debate that Oblak isn't like #1. Foul probably by like De Gea, Neuer, Buffon. You could probably still put in there, which is wild, but maybe factually true. And then maybe a combination. I don't know how good Courtois. Honestly, I haven't seen Courtois play like that much this year, but you know, he's another name that I'd throw in there before I'd even get to Gaylord. Maybe even like Ter Stegen too, but Ter Stegen does just kind of give up on plays, which I'm not 100% on. Anyway. Going on to the midfield depth, Real Madrid's a little bit better there. You know, Kroos missed a couple of games, I think with like a chest injury or whatnot. Modric's been rested, and that's kind of the key that we're going to run into here is also the rest factor that Zidane's already instilled and how that's being affected because of the injuries. So the midfield is, for the most part, I believe, pretty healthy. Kovacic is out for an extended period of time, and that kind of hurts because that'd be a nice guy that you could plug in there to play that we don't really have. And then up front, you know, it's another place where we're pretty weak at right now. Benzema is out. He's missed a substantial amount of time. Cristiano was out to start the season with the suspension. Once again, another silly suspension. But it was a little bit better than it was a little more worth it than, well, I don't know. The taking off the shirt part and getting the yellow card thing was worth it. The pushing the ref thing was just stupid. And then Bale's out now for probably a month and change. It looks like he kind of re-injured an ankle injury, playing for Wales and whatnot, and practiced out all that jazz. But Bale's always hurt, and that's a problem right to begin with. You know, I love the guy, but a man is just not on the field enough to like be considered at the level he is. So what you end up looking at is a Real Madrid team that doesn't really necessarily look like the star-studded Galacticos that like won the Champions League last year, right? The good thing is that they relatively have some of the depth to handle it, right? So you know, Isco obviously comes in there for the Bale position, which works well because you know Isco kind of deserves to be playing over Bale for the most part anyway. So that kind of resolves that. Borja Mayoral has been filling in for Benzema sometimes when Zidane wants him. That's been, you know, Mbappe would look nice right about now. I was talking about Ruth earlier, and I was like, you know, I think Zidane might be thinking to himself, I should have pulled the trigger on that Mbappe, yo. Like, I should have pulled that trigger because he looked real good right about now. And I mean, he's been looking amazing, man. I watched a couple PSG games, and man, it's and how they decimated Bayern and got Ancelotti fired, man. There's something to be worried about, except for that whole midfield defensive part where they ain't that great at. But anyway, I digress. Offensively, though, man, counterattacks on that, I don't even know. I don't want to think. I hope they don't run into Madrid at any point. But what you're seeing is the injury is kind of taking a little bit of a toll here at the beginning of the season. The fact that it's the beginning of the season, too. A lot of missed opportunities, you know. I've been asked, for example, like why we aren't scoring more goals, you know. And my first instinct was like, well, we're missing our killers. Like Ronaldo wasn't there those first 4 games. That's like he scores goals. That's what he does. You know, whereas an Asensio maybe or an Isco or Modric or Kroos who are taking a lot of shots, they don't necessarily do that. They can. They do it sometimes, but, you know, and I'll give you a clear example. Isco scored 2 this past weekend. Zidane apparently told him, I need you to shoot more. Like, I need you to get up in there and shoot more because the guy can shoot. But, you know, he normally plays behind Benz and Bale and Chris, and, you know, he'll score once in a while, but not at the rate that, for example, he was doing even at Malaga when he was out there, and he was kind of like the #1 option or whatnot. I saw yesterday or on Sunday as well, Sergio Ramos kind of moving up again to play up to the 9, which is something that was very underrated but helped us out on a lot of periods last year, especially when Benz would be taken out of the game and whatnot. We'd move like Ronaldo up at a 9. Sergio would kind of come up there and play next to him. So you got the injuries, you have the suspensions, which made for a little bit of an awkward start to the game. You had the fact that we played some teams that just kind of had our number, like Valencia. They always just kind of have our number. The Betis loss was a little bit unexcusable, but the Betis loss really, you know, it was really, I don't want to blame it 100% on Zidane, but he kind of did like a FIFA move, like when you're down like 2-1 or something like that, and you just go to like ultra offense and you just like take out like defensive players just to put offensive guys. You don't even care how many you got. Because by the end of that game, we had, and I really don't like this, I've seen it a couple times, though, where you have Borja Mayoral, Chris, Bale, Asensio. Like, at some point, you're like, yo, hold up. Like, we got, like, Lucas Vazquez. I'm like, yo, we got, like, a ton of dudes here that want to finish, but we don't got, like, enough to, like, create. like taking out a Modric for me to put on Luka Modric or stuff like that. I don't see that. I don't really 100% understand what's going on there, aside from the fact that he just wants to give him rest and Lucas will hustle and all that stuff. But to generate occasions or to convert occasions, I don't think that's necessarily the best look. And in that game, I believe we were down to literally, like, defensively we had, like, Sergio Ramos, maybe even, like, Casemiro or, like, Varane, like, and that's it. And they kind of hit us on the counter, and that was it. They scored, and we didn't. But you look at all these games that Real Madrid is tied or in that case lost. And they deserve to win all those games. Like, they created a lot more opportunities, a lot more dangerous opportunities. They just haven't fully gone in, which was an issue last year, too, for a lot of time. Chris, he ended the season on an amazing streak, but he spent most of the year not scoring goals and coming really close and in the crossbar. And you're kind of like, what's going on over here? And we're seeing that a little bit now, just team-wide with some players, not necessarily all players, but some players. So we'll see how that kind of progresses. I'm not 100% worried about it. Real Madrid's always been a good club that scores goals. They also, this is something that Zidane has to keep fighting too, is complacency. And that's kind of the only thing I'm really worried about is injuries and complacency. Those are kind of the two big things that could really derail Real Madrid's success this year. Complacency because of just how they've dominated in the past years. I mean, the back-to-back champions is still absurd. I don't think enough is made of how crazy good that is, and then winning the Liga last year, obviously with the consistency that they showed, was impressive. But you could see it, and I see it. I try not to see it. Like, I try to kind of like not see it and be like, oh, maybe it's not gonna play, maybe they just had a bad day or something like that. But you see it when they played Dortmund, for example, or even when they played up one in the first game. But Dortmund, you saw it a lot. It was the first time that we've ever won there. Thank goodness gracious. I hated going there. That place was just hell. It was just like every time we go, I'm like, man, we got to take an L hard as hell right here. I ain't really looking forward to this. But we won there. And we played really good. And we played a team that, they were extremely offensive. Defensively, they were lacking a little bit of what they were. But they were all full frontal attacking the whole time. And they're fast. They were really fast. Like, they were, like, substantially faster than our guys. And, like, it's very rare for me to see Varane chasing somebody and not catch him. Or, Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos getting a little bit up there now in age, but still, he's a really fast dude, so it's very curious when I see, like, them not catching. That's what Dortmund presented us. Those guys, regular attacks for them were counters. Like that's how, like, far ahead they were on our guys. But they kind of solidified all that, and they played serious, and they converted the occasions. He scored 2 goals and whatnot. So they turned it on, right? Like, that's the proverbial, like, on and off switch that may or may not exist in pro sports. They definitely had it that game. And also the lineups, too. Like that day, we played, like, the lineup that won the Champions League final, I think, without maybe – I think Marcelo may have been out already. Yeah, Marcelo was out. So I guess we played maybe, like, Nacho. Yeah, we played Nacho over there on that side, I think. But everything else was kind of status quo with how the team runs normally and how the team's set up for big games like that. Well, I guess we're missing Benzema too. Now I think about it, but never mind. We're missing a bunch of people. We're missing Benzema too as well, but that allowed him to put Isco in, which is cool. So, yeah, injuries, a little bit of complacency as well, and kind of rising up to the occasion. And rightfully so, because it's games in September, like they're still kind of getting into the whole swing of things and whatnot. And what makes it even stand out worse is that you're 7 points away from the leader, which is Barcelona, who's been on a torrid pace. The only thing I can really say about Barca's start, it's a little bit surprising, but not 100% because they have, like, great players. Like, the fact that Messi scored a lot of goals shouldn't really be much of a surprise to us. That's kind of what he feels like doing. I'm impressed by, on their front, how they've rebounded from the Neymar loss and now, unfortunately, losing Dembele, which really hurts them. And I even feel worse for Dembele because that just sucks for the kid. It's like that kid deserved and needed a nice year of health over there. But the thing that I'm most impressed about is how locked in, like, a guy like Messi is. Because I feel like last year, and it may be unfair to say this, but, I mean, Neymar carried that team. I think that's fact. Like, Neymar was the heart of that team. He did everything in that team, and I think that's part of the reason why he was like, all right, I'm going to go do this on my own, though, and, like, because I'm not getting – he wasn't getting the credit he deserved there because he was still overshadowed by Messi and to a lesser extent Luis Suarez. And Messi was kind of complacent, I feel like. And as with Luis Suarez would kind of just stand at the bottom and be like, all right, man, y'all give me this rock. I'm going to score. Let me get that rebound off that miss. I'm get it in there or whatnot. Whereas now these guys got to create their own opportunities. And Luis Suarez hasn't still 100% been there. Charu's been, but Messi has risen to the occasion and some. I mean, the goal scoring numbers are impressive. The creation, too, he falls back and helps create and whatnot. For a Barca team, when you look at it on paper, it's one of their weaker sides that they put out there this year, you know. Like, the fact that they have to put in, like, a De La Feu out there is, oof, like, not a good look. I like the Paulinho addition a lot. I'm liking everything I've seen about Paulinho, man. Like, I'm vibing with this dude. My man's like maybe a slightly better version of Casemiro, you know. Rubio kind of told me that, buddy of mine, when he came over, and I was like, all right, I got to see this. But, yeah, like, I like it. I think he fits in really well there. And I was kind of surprised, what the hell is this guy doing in China? We needed this guy playing in the big leagues for sure. Like, 100%, like, way before this. So, anyway, I'm a little bit impressed by that, but I'm a little bit nervous of how that plays because I think Messi's pretty much played all their minutes. You know, whereas Zidane is still, even with the injuries and even with the ties and whatnot, has still been monitoring minutes and getting rest and sitting people when they need to or whatnot. You know, you look at a guy like Chris, like, the best thing about Chris' suspension, my favorite part about it was the fact that since he didn't have an opportunity to have a preseason because he had the Confederations Cup and all that jazz, this was kind of his preseason. So now he can come in there and play these games, and you'll be able to rest them, you know, once you kind of get into the flow of the Champions League, one on the Copa del Rey and stuff like that comes in. Then you can play like the young guys, and those young guys are getting experience. You know, I think it's a valuable experience that I got like a Marcos Llorentes. Vallejo's actually coming back, which is going to be big because we need a defender in there. So in that sense, I kind of feel like Real Madrid is getting a little bit of a leg up in terms of the rest and in terms of just having different players kind of try out different things. And overall, just a more talented roster, I believe, kind of. But make no doubt about it, Barca star has been impressive. And Atletico Madrid, to a certain extent, has always been impressive, but unfortunately, they're already starting to show. They got Diego Costa. They got him a little. Well, I guess he couldn't have played even until December. But they need that guy to finish those shots at the box. And, you know, Griezmann could create and could do a lot of things, but he's not. He can't do exactly what a Diego Costa in his prime could do. Now, whether he's coming in his prime or not, that's up for debate, because I got my doubts on how that's going to work, man. But that's how September looks, man, in La Liga, and specifically for los merengues. A la Madrid.